Every spring and summer, hundreds of orphaned or separated ducklings pour into our wildlife clinic. Many of the ducklings we receive are admitted due to human-related structures or activity, like getting caught in storm drains, separated by roads, or interactions with domestic animals. While they may be adorable, caring for these ducklings requires specialized training and facilities. Alberta is home to 24 different duck species, many of which specifically come to the province in order to breed during spring and summer. Most duck species prefer to nest around wetland habitats, but some, like mallards, are willing to nest near human activity. While baby songbirds hatch fully dependent on their parents for food, warmth, and protection, ducklings are a little bit more independent. They're able to walk, swim, and feed themselves soon after hatching, but rely on their mother for guidance and protection. While this might seem like they're easier to care for than other bird chicks, ducklings have their own set of challenges that make them some of the most demanding patients at our clinic. Ducklings can be separated into two groups based off of their feeding strategies: dabbling and diving ducks. Dabbling ducks feed near the surface, and most of their diet includes algae, water plants, and the occasional insect or small invertebrate. Diving ducks, as you might guess, feed by diving underwater. Most of their diet is made up of aquatic invertebrates, but some species also will go for fish or aquatic plants. These different feeding strategies change the way our team interact with different species of duckling.
For our dabbling ducklings, because they can be on land so much, we can work on their waterproofing a few days into care and kind of like get them there progressively. They also will normally eat on land readily, but for our dabbling ducks, they tend to only want to eat any food that's like in the water, so we do have to progress them a little bit quicker, and we have to pay a much closer attention to their waterproofing.
As ducklings grow, we upgrade them to larger and larger spaces.
So when ducklings first arrive in care, we put them immediately into our ICU, where we let them rest for about 20 to 30 minutes with some additional heat support. And then after that rest period, we do a full intake exam on them, and then we move them down to our duckling room, which is where we get them set up on a dry dock with all of their food and water ready to go, and then we try to make sure that they are eating readily. When they first come in, ducklings are fed 5 times a day. We then move that out to about 4 times a day as they start to get older. We do have to check on them as often as every 5 minutes sometimes though. Our diving ducks we feed every hour. So every hour we go out to them and we add mealworms or superworms to their food. Preparing ducklings for their first swim, we make sure they're all bright, alert, and responsive, so we make sure that there's no issues with them. They've been in care for at least 48 hours, which means they're typically gaining weight and have been doing good otherwise. And then we start swimming them in what we call our half dock. So we have a little half dock that slopes, and we fill the water up about halfway up their dock area so they can go in and out of the water very easily. And then we watch them for about 5 minutes. Make sure they don't get wet when they inevitably do get wet, because our ducklings typically aren't waterproof when they first come in. We then move them back to their dry dock and let them preen and stay nice and warm. Yeah, so when ducklings outgrow their first space, they then get moved to our secondary space. So our secondary space means that they're being able to stay on their half dock and get full water access all day and all night. So then we move them up, they get way more water access, they get the same amount of like food and everything like that, but we typically have them fully waterproofed at that point, so we don't have to worry about them as much. We are on a well system here, so we typically 2 to 3 times a week we have to order in our water, which they can fill 2 of our pools at a time, and then we can typically fill 1 more pool overnight on our well system, but we have to have water stoppers to make sure that we don't burn out our well. And we have about 12 full pools that we use for our ducklings, so we're filling at least 3 every other day. We know when a duckling's ready to be released when their primary feathers are almost touching. Once a duckling's primary feathers are crossed, it means they're able to be fully flighted.
At the AIWC, we save ducklings not just because they're cute and in need of help, but also because ducks are key players in wetland ecology. Ducks are important for controlling populations of aquatic plants, mollusks, and other invertebrates that would otherwise overrun wetland habitat. They are also important nutrient dispersers, not just because they move between water and land, but also because they are migratory, and so they move nutrients across the entire continent. We're honored to be able to save hundreds of orphan ducklings every single year. You can help us care for ducklings and other wildlife in need by donating at aiwc.ca. And remember, if you ever find a baby duckling on their own, please contact your local wildlife rehabilitation center before taking action.